I don't know if you've heard of how terrible the game Cyberpunk 2077 is if you're playing in the main consoles, whether in PS4 or in the Xbox 360 or Xbox Series. Xbox. Basta older generation, I forgot what they call it. And if you're one of those gamers, you'll be really disappointed. And obviously, this didn't happen by accident. It was by choice by the company CD Projekt Red, and all the hype that they've generated, all the goodwills from the gamers who uploaded their passion for building great games, how they treat their consumers is better than what Bethesda and EA is doing right now. But with the debacle that is Cyberpunk 2077, everything has gone haywire. And obviously, they're trying to do damage control in terms of, apologizing to the gamers in terms of, what they did, how could they have done better, and so forth. But, is it too late? Should have they avoided this problem altogether to begin? They could have avoided this. It's not something that it happened by accident, similar to, the Boeing incident earlier. Anyway, let's take a look. So as mentioned here, that the company launched the game with that was considered an unmitigated disaster in terms of accusation of false advertising. The discussion throughout December was how terrible the game is. If you don't own a PC, which many of us don't, especially a high-end one, you will not get the experience that you're looking for or you're expecting here. Excuse me. And as we look at the article here, the founder of CD Projekt Red, or co-founder, sorry, you have Marcin Iwinski, released a statement apologizing for what went wrong and laying the roadmap for future updates and DLC for Cyberpunk 2077. Now, obviously, all apologies aside, I know he is trying to show the sincerity of the mistake they've done, but they could have pushed it back. That's the sad part about it. Now, we were criticizing last year when it was announced that Halo Infinite was going to be delayed on its release later this year, end of the year actually. It was supposed to be released in tandem with the release of the new console, which is the Xbox Series X and Series S, so that it could jumpstart the revenue of the console as the games itself. But obviously, the company sought it fit that it makes sense to delay it because it was not a finished game. Well, opposite of that is what Cyberpunk did, CD Projekt Red did here. Obviously, trying to capitalize of the Christmas holidays, and obviously with the pandemic that was happening, people were stuck at home looking for a viable alternative entertainment. The gaming experience is the only viable source outside of watching movie theaters here. And so forth, what did they did? Despite knowing that it was not polished, well, actually not finished, not polished is another thing. And they deceived the reviewers in terms of focusing primarily on PC reviews and not showing how bad the console games were. Even if you had the latest PS5 or the Xbox Series X, there were tons of bugs, and they had to show, or they have to provide hot fixes, they called it, so that it could improve the game playability, so to speak. And based on the article here, as mentioned, they stated that they're going to try to address all the issue, that you've trusted us and pre-ordered our game. Despite good reviews on the PC, the console version of the 2077 did not meet the quality standard. No, there's no, you can't say you did not meet the quality. There was no quality to begin with. The fact that the game crashes time and time again, as you can see from the many gamers who tried and played it on different consoles, it's not quality standard that was not met. There was no standard to begin with. And you knew it from the very beginning, which is kind of sad for a big company and successful as CD Projekt Red. And they're trying to say in return is just sorry, right? And making it difficult for consumers who pre-ordered it and boasting that you've recovered all of your marketing costs and everything else at the expense of what? The customer's trust that you built up all these years, and then in one fell swoop, it was broken. Now, whether you can regain the trust of your consumers, It's a work in progress. And as they mentioned, they believe that they are working, they're making solid progress leading up to the release, which is, you know, I'm sure the developers have been telling admin that they should not release it because it's not ready as of the moment. And question as to what they plan to do in the future, they stated that they are going to update it. Uh, the first update was last December, then January is another. Then they plan to update it again sometime later this year, 3 months from now, 6 months from now. Which just goes to show, if you needed to update those games or put hot fixes or patches so that the game runs smoothly, took you 3 months, 6 months later on, you're still doing that, meaning you had to delay that long for the game to run better, so that the customer experience would have been tremendous, and it would have built more credibility in terms of showing that you're the what do you call it? I forgot the term. You're at the apex of the gaming industry, of how a gaming publisher should be and what other publishers should be looking for. But now that's all gone haywire, and you know, talking of updates in terms of DLC is, seems ludicrous now. The main concern should be is the next gen versions for the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 is the primary concern here, because obviously people bought the consoles and the game to experience what Cyberpunk or Night City is, but that's different now. I don't know if I would still be looking forward to playing the game, despite that. I bought the Witcher game, which I haven't finished, by the way, but it took you that long to perfect the system, and if you knew you need more time to polish it, I think the consumers, the gamers would have understand. But I guess you didn't focus on the consumer, more on your shareholders. That's why you pushed it anyway, right? I guess pressure from shareholders what led you to decide in terms of pushing the product, an unfinished product at that.